All right, let's get started here. I'll first open up and welcome everyone to the last day of the CRIO Partner Expo, day 4. Today's focus is on site operations support. We're first going to hear from Allie Garrettson at UniTriTeam. She's going to talk to us about staff augmentation support and CRIO implementation support. Later on, we have some pre-screening tools from Inato we're going to hear about. We're going to hear from Healthcare Business Associates for business development support. And then lastly, we will hear from Christy with Clinical Research Billing for financial support. So a good, fun day, few hours, I guess, here for the CRIO Partner Expo Day 4. So Allie, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to give a brief intro on UniTriTeam and who we are, and then really go through a few case studies, prompt any questions you may have as well. But appreciate CRIO for putting this on and allowing us to tell you a little bit about what we do. With that being said, I'm going to move forward here and I'll give you a brief background. Myself, I'm Allie Garrettson, and my business partner is Jenna Lynch. We co-founded UniTriTeam in 2021. We both have clinical research site experience. So I think what makes us unique is myself, I was a COO and site president of Artemis Institute for Clinical Research. We're a small multi-site network in Southern California. Jenna joined me there as our chief people officer. We were acquired by Headlands in 2021. I stayed on to run Artemis as the site president. I also ran Headlands centralized patient recruitment. So I have a lot of experience about what sites need, their pain points. And Jenna has been a chief people officer for a number of years. And our focus is really on a win-win experience for our people, our global staff, team members, and our clients. And so we provide cost-effective global professionals that have clinical research experience, medical expertise. So I'll talk a little bit about that. We like to connect these incredible team members with companies here in the US. We have a focus on clinical research and medical industry with our backgrounds. And really, our focus is creating that win-win-win experience for everyone. So our goals for sites from an operational standpoint are how do we scale more efficiently and well? So we're looking at optimizing and scaling efficiently, whether that's with global team members, the use of technology like CRIO, how to optimize that technology and automate manual business processes. So that's really what we're looking at. And I'm going to spend most of my time today talking about a few case studies and highlighting how we've been able to support a variety of sites. The first is EDC staff augmentation. This is an area we focus on quite significantly. It's something that, frankly, I started when I was at Artemis, realizing kind of the burden and pain that the CRCs were experiencing. And there are revenue generating staff members, right? We want them seeing patients. And the more patients they see, the more revenue we can generate as a site, the more we're meeting enrollment goals. And so the documentation is just, as we all know, valuable time away from patient-facing activities. So even when I was at the sites, brought in global resources to help support the CRCs. We have them entering data into different EDC platforms. We maintain that within 24 hours. They help monitor and resolve queries. And really, they're an extension of the team, which is key. We want them treated like any other team member, but they're very affordable. So the impact we've seen is more revenue generating patient visits, improved protocol adherence, and it's really a cost-effective solution. You're spending a fraction of the cost that you would on US-based resources, and these folks are technical, they're trained, and they're embedded into your team just like any other staff member. The next is patient recruitment augmentation. So Again, patient recruitment is one of the biggest bottlenecks in clinical research. We have to staff or have to fill these slots as quickly as possible. We're usually often sprinting for trials like vaccine trials to hit those enrollment goals as quickly as possible. And so we are able to augment teams with additional patient recruitment staff. These are people on the phones screening. They have medical backgrounds. They understand what the patients are talking about. Many of them have worked in medical environments before, in clinical research environments before. And so we use these folks to help augment patient recruitment teams. And again, we're doing it at a fraction of the cost. So there's significant time away from the CRCs if your CRCs are recruiting and you don't have dedicated patient recruitment specialists. If you do have dedicated patient recruitment specialists, they can help with admin support, like entering all the information into sponsor portals, because as we know, they're not connected still, and there's no APIs. So they can help with data entry, they can get on the phones. And really, we're improving the data that the sponsors are seeing and being more timely. So the sponsor experience is improved, and we're scheduling more patients. And so we've seen the ROI on the cost to scheduling be 5 times at the number of sites that we're doing this at. All right, a couple tech things that we'll talk about too, and then I'll pause for any audience questions or comments. But the other piece that we do, so we focused on the staff augmentation first and kind of highlighting a few of the areas we're able to support. The other piece that we're able to support is really being the I would say the CTO or technical advisor to the sites. We don't sell software. I'm not pushing a specific software. We're a CRIO preferred partner, obviously. We're a Salesforce preferred partner. We implement a variety of different technologies after understanding your requirements. And so we can help just streamline and optimize your tech stack. One example of how we're able to support a site is by using AI, of Facebook Messenger and CRIO, um, as you'll see here shortly, to deliver this rapid responding to potential patients. So really, they're responding through Facebook Messenger to a Facebook ad, right? Many of you guys are doing Instagram ads, Facebook ads. So when they're responding, they're texted immediately by our AI bot. That information is actually entered into the CRM, whether that's Salesforce, CRIO, whatever. But all of the information that you're gathering is entered there, and then it's actually prompting them to set up time to schedule with a patient recruiter. So many ads in our experience, we've had a lot of CNS studies. Many folks are responding to these ads at midnight, 1 a.m. So this is allowing us to collect information in real time. So that 24/7 response time to patients that may be up, may be looking for information when we don't have patient recruiters available, and they're able to respond within the same method, Facebook Messenger, for instance, that they are seeing the ads. And so we're seeing an increase in screens, and those knockout questions are handled really quickly, reducing the time the patient recruiters have to be on the phone with patients that may or may not qualify pretty early on. So we've seen that be a win. The other piece is no-show automation. And so this is something that happens often. As you all know, the patients no-show, we might mark them as no-show in CRIO, in Clinical Conductor, in whatever form that forum that you're using. And that pushes that notification to Salesforce immediately. Because we use Salesforce at this particular site, we're automating text messages, we're automating emails, and we're actually automating an AI outbound phone call to that patient so that we can get them to reschedule, understand where they're at, help them with directions, and all of this without the use of an actual human intervention. The next step is we're actually exposing the CRIO schedule to allow patients to reschedule directly. So the idea is minimizing what is constant pain and allowing for that rapid response time to the patient so that you're not losing out on a really qualified patient. And we're not using that human that takes time, right? If we market it no show, they might take 15 minutes to see it, right? They might take time, they might be on a call with another patient. So the idea is this real time or near real time contact helps those patients reschedule, and we're catching them before it's too late. So that's UniTriTeam in a nutshell. I wanted to focus on the case studies, but really our job and our goal and our passion for clinical research is to help sites do things better, scale more efficiently, optimize your performance, and be able to be a better partner to our sponsors and to our patients. So with that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just see if there's any questions, if that's okay, guys, from the audience that I'm happy to answer during this time. There's one in the chat, so I assume the staff you provide go on the site's DOA logs, correct? That is correct. Yeah, they go through all of the training. They're on the DOA. That's why CRIO, because of everything being electronic, right, is extremely important. So they're can log in from anywhere. We don't work with one specific country. We have people in over 40 countries, so we find the right staff member that fits your needs. So we don't have like a hub in a specific country. But yes, they provide, everything goes on the site's DOA. Is there any other questions? Yeah. Sites can choose to participate in the AI feature only. So it's not like a package or a service that you sign up for. You can choose to work with us in any capacity. So there's sites that work with us directly for, technology best practices and implementation. I don't charge for my time. We consult, we can give um, consulting overviews and things like that to kind of help provide some guidance. I'm at no charge too, but really only if you need our help to implement any technology or you choose to have try the staff augmentation, then we can do that. We don't lock people in long-term contracts. You can literally cancel at any time. So what kind of sets us apart is there's no upfront fees. There's no cancel. You can cancel at any time. There's no long-term agreement, and we have talented folks on our team that have worked in industry. So it helps the learning curve.
All right. Well, if you do, you can always find UniTriTeam in the CRIO Partner Directory and feel free to shoot them an inquiry via the Contact Us button. All right.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate your time
Well,
today.
thank you so much. Great hearing from you. We will meet you back in 5 minutes, everyone, for our next presenter. We're going to hear from Inato. So we'll see you back here in 5 minutes. All right, we are back. Thank you everyone for participating in the poll. It looks like your biggest hesitation, the hesitation that most are experiencing when evaluating a new vendor or integration, is lack of time and resources to evaluate. We get that here at CRIO, and that is definitely why we created the Partners Program. The directory itself is making it easier for you to find vendors, to connect with them, and to enable integrations with them all in one place. So hopefully you guys can have learned more about that throughout this expo. And here with another solution is Elaine with Inato. We're going to hear from her. And let me just spotlight you. All right, take it away, Elaine.
Thanks so much for the introduction. Hi, guys. My name is Elaine Menshoff-Haddock. I'm one of the customer success managers here at Inato. So I first just, again, want to thank you guys for joining today and tuning into our session. We are really excited to be able to present you with a few of the resources that Inato provides. And we will go ahead and kick it off a quick deck for y'all, but I wanted to spend some time demoing as well. So if you're not familiar with Inato, Inato is a marketplace suite of resources that are free for sites, and we have been partnering with CRIO to unlock a new level of success, giving CRIO sites direct access to more trial opportunities to apply for and some really powerful AI tools that help to reduce site burden, accelerate patient screening, and ultimately help you enroll faster. Now, going back to our free sources are free, we do this because we understand that a lot of services are at the cost of a site, and we really want to empower community sites with resources. So our business model works with sponsors on selection and innovation projects with the goal to build tools that sites naturally want to adopt. So coming into a little bit of background about Inato, we are an AI platform connecting sponsors and sites on a global scale on a mission to bringing clinical trials to all patients. So really trying to bring research into communities and empowering sites to be successful on these studies. Our network consists of, not network so much as our site pool, consists of over 5,500 sites across the globe, so 50 plus countries, and we work with over 25 top global sponsors across over 100 studies. And that's consistently growing. We're constantly adding new trials to the marketplace to help it make more accessible trials for y'all. And so what this looks like with CRIO, just to give you a quick overview, and I'll of course jump into a demo to show you a little bit more about what this looks like and how it works using Inato's platform. We know that you're managing your studies in CRIO already, so we want to support you in finding your studies and pre-screening patients for the studies as well. So step one, add Inato to your daily flow of business development. Like whatever you're doing for business development, this is just one additional resource that is free to your site to use. So you can increase your access to trial opportunities and hopefully win some studies with us. And then, as usual, you're going to track those studies through CRIO as you normally do. The next step is to start pre-screening patients within Inato. So I'll show you how that works in a bit of a demo today. The idea is that you're cutting review time more than in half by reducing the time spent doing chart review and inclusion and exclusion criteria validation. So really, you're saving time and you're also reducing your screen fail rate because we are able to help you do such a thorough job of pre-screening patients. And what's great with our CRIO integration is that all this information will flow back into CRIO on the patient instant. So you can see exactly the pre-screening summary, any next steps that you need to take and pick up right where you're already working. So a little bit more about the platform if you're not familiar. So entirely AI-enabled platform where you can access trials and also pre-screen your patients. We co-built this entire platform with sites to ensure that it solves real problems. So not only does our team consist of folks who have worked at the site level, worked at the sponsor level, kind of everywhere in between. We also consistently build new features, new tools with site voices, testing on sites and helping them to kind of co-create and be able to really deliver these tools in a way that fits into the workflows that you guys are already using. So the trial access, you're getting to view trials across multiple sponsors, getting to showcase your strengths and kind of help you get noticed with these sponsors that you might not otherwise have a relationship with. And then even beyond study award for Inato studies, non-Inato studies, you can use our pre-screening tool to reduce screen fail rate, automate some chart review, and give you kind of that assistant to give you some of your time back with patients. So quick break from the demo, just want to jump in to show you how the platform looks and what you can expect. So starting here, we have your Inato profile, which you can very easily today, if you want to go and sign up and create. You can build it out up front or you can build it out over time. The great thing is that all of this information that you're adding about your site's experience, your staff, your interests, your recruitment strategy, your community engagement efforts, all of this information helps to autofill your applications in the future. So you're not repeating the same information on feasibility questionnaires over and over again. And what's great too is that, like I mentioned, with the AI-powered kind of feasibility and profiles, we're able to auto pull some of this information for you. So if clinicaltrials.gov shows us that you have worked on 10 of these studies, we're not going to make you enter them manually. We're going to pre-populate them for you here. So we're really able to help kickstart your profile and help you add to it over time. So once you have your profile set up, go ahead and start to review some trials to discover. So you can view all the trials that are open to sites in your area and manage the entire process from CDA to protocol review to filling out the application directly on the platform. You'll click into a given trial and say, review some details about it, key inclusion exclusion criteria, some of the information about the study. You'll see even how many sites are left to be selected on Inato. So you can really take those next steps for you here, and that's all centralized in one place. You can also manage those steps here, of course. So you'll see in progress, not only do you have a couple applications to fill out, but you also are following along on the status. So your site was selected for a PSV, and you can see that here, and you have some next steps to prepare. You might want to share some availabilities for the date of the visit, prepare some documents so that you're ready to go for that visit. So this is a little bit about the feasibility side of the platform where we help sites to connect with trial opportunities and help them along through that process. The next thing I want to talk about is that AI-powered pre-screening tool, which is located right over here. So the great thing about this tool is that it's something that you can use across all of your trials. It doesn't have to be just the trials that you get through us. So you can easily add your protocols by adding the NCT ID or the protocol number, and we'll automatically set up that protocol for you. And from there, you can start to pre-screen your patients. Now, what ends up happening is when you click to add patients for, let's say, an asthma trial, you have a couple options on how you can go ahead and start pre-screening those patients. You can upload them one at a time. You can upload them in bulk. So you can default to PDF if that's where you want to start, but you also can integrate your EMR to make it even more seamless. So we can automatically pull in those relevant patients for you, and you're able to start pre-screening. As you start pre-screening, you'll be able to assign the patient ID identifier. So we always recommend doing something like your CRIO ID or the EMR ID for that patient, because once you do upload that, we're going to automatically redact all of the PHI from the medical record before storing it onto our system. The other great thing here is that you may upload them for an asthma study, but if they also have atopic dermatitis and you have a study for atopic derm on the platform as well, we're going to identify that and notify you to screen them for that study as well, just in case they might be a good match for both. So we're really helping you to kind of do that deep dive into patients. It takes just a matter of minutes to review each of these criteria. And I can show you that example here with a pre-prepared version here. So you're getting a line by line assessment on each criteria, right? Which is not eligible, eligible. If we can't find that information, we're not going to make a call either way. And what's great is you can click into each of these to validate that information. We never want you to have to rely entirely on AI. We're not trying to, replace the work that you guys are doing. You're the experts. We're just trying to give you that assistance to help you do this really quickly. And so once you kind of see the rationale, you can go directly to the source where this information is coming from. You can spend just a few minutes instead of an hour or so per patient making a decision about whether or not you want to screen them. And of course, make that decision up here. Now, coming back to what's great about managing your studies in CRIO and being able to use this as a free resource to help you pre-screen quickly and efficiently is that once you actually go in and just going to show you an example of a patient here. Once you go in and actually update the patient to be eligible or not eligible, you're going to see that their information will come up in CRIO as well. So just going to come back here. Sorry, just need to edit the patient for one moment. So I have this patient as ID1. Let's say that I had them from my EMR database, but I want to make sure that they match up with CRIO. I'm just going to make sure that the CRIO ID matches. And then you'll see as soon as I do that, I'm able to go and find my assessment for this patient within CRIO. So just going to take a moment for us here. And our patient, John Dodo. who we just renamed here at 11:51 Eastern. You'll see that we've marked him as to screen and we can see his entire assessment. So it's really instant and you do get this summary and kind of next step to screen the patient. And you can, of course, take those next actions from CRIO directly. Coming back to a couple other things I want to call out. So obviously, if you were here for other sessions earlier this week, there's a lot of pre-screening tools on the market. And just to call out some key differentiators here, we do have a really quick startup process. So we're not really giving you a lot to onboard with. It's easy to get set up and get started right away. And even if you do choose to integrate your EMR for familiar systems, it takes about 1 to 2 weeks. For newer EMRs that we have to adapt to, 3 to 4 weeks. So really quickly, you can get started using this. And obviously, you saw how quickly the update pushed to CRIO. So it really is quite instant in that sense as well. And I did mention cross-protocol visibility. You are able to pre-screen patients against multiple trials, enabling smarter pre-screening in a fraction of the time, not having your coordinators have to go through and manually find every diagnosis and cross-reference against your studies. Another great thing, especially as AI continues to sweep our industry, is the dedicated support of real people, myself included. So we're with you every step of the way to ensure that success isn't left to chance. We want to make sure that if you need help integrating your EMR or figuring out the best way to adapt to your specific pre-screening process or recruitment process, you have someone to do that with. Same with the marketplace side. If you need advice on how to make your application stronger, we're here to support you on that. We talked a bit about integrations as well. And then I do want to highlight the accuracy of the AI that we've been able to develop. We're able to get about 95% accuracy on eligibility criteria, which has really helped to reduce the screen fill rate that sites are seeing at their sites. And so some of the impacts, some of the numbers I can share with you here, we're seeing an 80% reduction in screen fill rate with 90% faster pre-screening time. These are some of the early users who have adopted and been consistently using the pre-screening tool for pre-screening on their studies. And then again, that 95% accuracy on eligibility criteria. With one specific study on a recent trial, we were able to integrate with one of our site partners, EMRs, and pull in, they had over 74,000 patient records in their EMR. They had no idea which ones to pull for a given study. And what we ended up doing is having that integration process through those records. It identified about 1,300 patients that had the diagnosis and then identified 28 patients for screening. So this is something that took just a matter of minutes, which typically, as I'm sure everyone in the room here knows, that could take hours to achieve. Right. And I know we are running close on time here, so just want to call out, we take data privacy very seriously, data security. So we are HIPAA compliant, ISO certified. We continuously monitor and maintain those. I mentioned we do redact the medical records as well, so we're not storing PHI on the platform. And really only you and your authorized users on the Inato platform have access to any of this data. And last thing, as I wrap up, I just want to say, like I said, we built this entire platform with sites for sites. So we're continuously adding and improving upon the pre-screening tool, the marketplace, our integration with CRIO, thanks to vocal sites and their amazing feedback. So we look forward to continuing to do that this year, next year, as to come, and we hope to see some of your faces among them. Feel free to contact us. You'll have my contact information as well. And we're happy to support you and partner with you on our next things.
Thanks so much, Elaine. Any questions for Elaine? Feel free to chat them. And if not, and if you think of any later, you can contact them in the partner directory located in the Help Center. Elaine, I really like how, AI is definitely can be scary, to integrate into our lives, but it's great that, with your system, you have the option to integrate it to alleviate the burden, but still, depending on your comfort level, still have oversight. if you choose to. So that's great. Thank you so much, Elaine. And we will see everyone back here in 5 minutes. All right, welcome back, everyone. We have Darian here with Healthcare Business Associates. She is going to talk about their fractional business development support solutions. So let me spotlight you. All right, Darian, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I hope y'all are doing well. I'm going to get my slideshow up. Here we go. Hopefully y'all can see that. So I work at Healthcare Business Associates. We are a fractional business development organization for healthcare practices and clinical
Sorry,
research.
Darian, I can't see your slideshow. Do you
Hold
mind
on.
sharing again?
Try sharing again. Let's try this one.
There we go.
Is that better? Hopefully.
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so we're Healthcare Business Associates. We support healthcare practices and clinical research sites with fractional BD. Today, I'll talk about what we do, the value proposition, our results, and then kind of what your experience would be like and why HBA might be a benefit to your organization. So HBA, Healthcare Business Associates, we collaborate with clinical research sites to provide them with anything that you would expect from in-house business development, but we do it on a fractional contracted basis. We have a very high client retention rate, 98%. We believe in doing good, clean work by leveraging our strong industry relationships with sponsors and CROs to support the growth of our clients. And we also drive revenue for clinical research sites and healthcare practices through those relationships, through novel streams of revenue, and taking a very holistic approach to the growth of your site or practice. For those of you that may not be familiar with the fractional employment or contracting model, it is a way of having access to higher office individuals, but on a more fractional basis. So we're not like an SMO or anything like that where you become part of that network, but we work within your practice to ensure that you have all the growth that you want for your business. You're for those, again, for kind of that fractional model, whether or not you need like a CEO or CFO or COO, you can hire any of those individuals in a fractional role. We just provide fractional business development staff for your site. We're not study brokers. And the reason why that is important for you to know is because we believe in supporting your business as a whole. So we do help sites find new clinical trials and get involved with sponsors and CROs on new studies. But we also support sites with recruiting staff and investigators, breaking into new therapeutic areas, opening new sites or locations, and expanding their network or their reach. And we establish long-term partnerships with sponsors and CROs for your site, as opposed to kind of seeking that next study. We also support our sites with quality and SOP development as well. And again, everything that we do is to leverage your site in front of sponsors and CROs to be as competitive as possible for trial awards, for patient recruitment, for all of that. We can also help sites with, building their websites, building their marketing materials, and all of that is for making sure that you are presented as a trusted partner for sponsors and CROs. One of the benefits of using HBA is that you do get access to executive level BD support, but at a fraction of in-house full-time BD salary. So again, you can actually do this with CEOs or CFOs, anybody in those kind of upper executive level offices, but we do it with business development. So a lot of times, sites or smaller practices want to have business development to help grow their business strategy, but can't always afford to bring in someone full time. So we provide that level of performance and competence, but more on a fractional basis, and therefore it's not as expensive. It is flexible and scalable, and can oftentimes meet or exceed traditional business development models. It preserves the in-house experience and results, meaning that as opposed to brokers who may have split time trying to figure out how to get you the next study, we provide that holistic approach to what your site needs. Some sites need lots of different aspects of business development, including like budget and contract negotiations, hiring staff, seeking new PIs, and other sites maybe don't need as many services, but we make sure that it's tailored to what your site needs for long-term sustainable growth. All of our contracts are month to month, meaning that with a 30-day notice, you can leave at any time. We believe that if we don't perform or you don't like the services, you should not use our product. And we believe that if we do a good job, you won't want to go anywhere. So our clients are very happy with that and very happy with knowing that we go to bat for them and get them the results that oftentimes they're not able to find it with other vendors. To date, our team has been able to source hundreds of trials with all the major sponsors and CROs. We have established strong relationships with many sponsors and CROs like Syneos and Icon and AstraZeneca and Merck, and many others. We work in all therapeutic areas on all phases of clinical trials. And we leverage kind of, again, that established, experienced staff for the benefit and growth of your site. One of the things, some of the kind of what your experience looks like with our team, our biggest focus is long-term relationships for your site. This avoids the next study approach to business development. One thing I run into very often talking to clinical research site owners is they're just looking to get the next study. We need to get the next trial. We need to get the next award. And they're not always approaching it as looking at how to establish that long-term sustainable relationship with Eli Lilly or Novo Nordisk. So that way they keep coming back to your site as a trusted partner for their clinical trials. And that builds your own internal pipeline of studies and partnerships that are longer lasting and kind of create that that revenue stream over time is maybe what I'll call it. So that's one thing that I think is different in that our clients are very happy with our business development model. We give your site a personalized experience to meet your needs. I've seen I've had sites talk to me about how they feel like they get a list of studies and none of them apply to their specific needs or their therapeutic areas or their PIs. And we don't do that. We make sure that we understand your site from the very beginning. We fill out a detailed profile about your site to understand what you need and how you want to expand and grow your clinical research site as a business, given your capabilities. And if you don't already have those capabilities established, we can also work on establishing that for you, whether or not it's seeking imaging vendors, seeking therapeutic area specialists to partner with for patient referrals, or even bringing on new sub-investigators or PIs for different patient populations. Everyone on our team is trained to understand all these different aspects of clinical trials, so that way your clinical research site can be supported in any way that it needs. Why choose HBA? Because hopefully you find that it helps your business grow. But we also believe that our unique approach that's tailored to your site is going to be productive and helpful for your long-term sustainable growth. We do have proven success. We are very cost efficient with our time and support of our clinical research sites. And again, we build those long-term partnerships. So we want to make sure that your site has everything it needs to grow and have its own internal pipeline and flow of studies, as opposed to one-off opportunities that are good, but maybe don't provide the long-term strategy that you may want. And then if you are interested in business development, this is some of our information. So feel free to reach out to me directly or visit our website. And if there's anything you guys need, I know we're in the CRIO Partnership Directory, and Nikki is also able to orient you guys in that way as well. So thanks so much. I have a few minutes for any questions. So if anyone would like to ask anything, I'm available. And if not, I'm sure I'll see several of you around sometime.
Thanks, Darian. Any questions for Darian and her team? Feel free to chat them now. All right. Well, like Darian said, you can feel free to contact her or jump into the CRIO Partner Directory and submit an inquiry there. Thanks so much. We will see everyone back here for our last session in a little over 5 minutes. We'll hear from Christy from Clinical Research Billing. Thank you, Darian. All right, everyone, we are back. Thanks for participating in the poll. Looks like many people either have worked with an external vendor or have not at all. Those were the two most popular answers. So I will turn it over here to Christy with Clinical Research Billing. I am going to spotlight you. All right, Christy.
Okay. Great. How do I share my screen? Oh, it's down here, right?
Yes, the green arrow.
The green arrow.
Zoom is hard.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm used to Teams.
Yes.
So let me move that, and let me move that. And now it's still not sharing. Okay, share this.
There we go.
Is that right?
Yes, yes, there we go. We can see.
Okay, so you have my screen. Okay,
Yes.
cool. All right, is everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm the final session, and we've had some great ones on operations, but I want to make sure that you're actually getting paid for all the work that you do. So what we do is billing, and we can log into your CRIO account, and we'll use the information that you guys enter and your source and so forth to make sure that you're getting paid according to the budget, and for the work that you're doing, because you need that in order to continue doing all the great things that you do. So our job is just to make sure you get paid. So this is a sandbox. This isn't a real study. It's not a real site. I think we just made all this stuff up to get some stuff in. So I just wanted to kind of move around in here and show you how we do the billing that we do. And you may know all this, but I may be able to dive in and show you some things that are worthwhile. Also try to give a general explanation. So this is your study budget page. This is your patient stipends, your visit auto pay, screen fails, your screen fail setups up here, along with the holdback setup, which actually works pretty well. And then what's interesting about this is that you can actually dive in here and go into your procedures and be able to link to the procedures right from the source in order to be able to bill them. So you can put the amounts on here, and you can go in and set that up. So let's go into view all. So if you want to set one up, let's say you want to set a pregnancy test because you get tired of invoicing pregnancy tests for men, and you want to make sure that that pregnancy test was done, you can go into the advanced logic and go into the question and say, yes, that pregnancy test was performed, and put that out here. And that's going to come in down here. And then you can put in, say, your amount, say it's $45, just making this up. And this will make it invoiceable. Okay, so that's great. It's very easy. It's very easy to set up. You can also set it up based upon whether the patient's randomized or screen failed or your unscheduled visit. So maybe for your stipends, you want to make sure you pick those up on unscheduled visits. So you set that up. However, sometimes there's a problem because you want to get in here and what you're looking for isn't there. You know, like if you want to do you want to make sure there's a daybed fee for your liver biopsy, or you want to know if they use the ultrasound guidance on the liver biopsy, but that's not in the source, then what we recommend is that you work with the site, you work with the coordinator and the people who are setting, you can't just go in and change the source, but might ask them if you can, for the billing people, if you can go in and create a few questions. So we like to have an invoiceable procedures set up here where these are just invoiceable procedures. These are things that we want to know for each study. Maybe that repeat consent, is it really a true reconsent? Was dry ice used? That's a great question because just because the labs were done doesn't mean that dry ice was used necessarily. Uh, and additional procedures, you can put all kinds of things in here. You can make it very simple, yes and no. You don't want to make it too difficult for the coordinators. So that works well. On that liver biopsy question, I would want to go in and say, okay, was the liver biopsy done? That's not that hard to get out of the source. Was the ultrasound guidance used? Did the patient stay in the facility so that I can get the daybed fee? Were the samples sent? Was dry ice used? And did they get that biopsy stipend? You can actually ask these questions and get specific answers that you can then bring back over to your finance, and you'll see where that is down here. If I go into procedure logic, select advanced, and down to the bottom. So this liver biopsy is the one we were just looking at, and voila, there are your questions. Yes or no, all these questions. So I added these things, the dry ice. You can say, oh, well, okay, let's add the dry ice and get the dry ice on that. So all those kinds of things can be added in over here, and then you pick them up and put your rates in and make it invoiceable. So I find that to be really helpful to get all of those procedures that might be difficult to get otherwise. So that's one thing. Then you're going to see those come up here on your invoiceable items, and you're going to see those. Here's your invoiceable items. Now, sometimes some things are invoiceable for some visits, but not for others. So maybe for the urinalysis, it's part of the screening visit, but it's not part of the other visits. So it's not invoiceable for visits 1 or 2. I'll actually make these notes. And then if it's in this case, visit 2, I look at it, look at my notes, but I go, oh, well, I better not invoice that. And so I go over here and I hide it, and it goes down here actually. So you can get it back. So if those things didn't happen and this says that, then you redo that and it'll be gone. And so it's not going to get invoiced, but you can still get it back if you want to. So that's very handy. Then if you actually put it on the invoice and you're saying, well, I don't want it to say that on the invoice, then you can create the invoice. You can come over here. It's very easy to actually edit that text. So you put this on and you just go in and, you have to be paying attention, but you just go in and get rid of it. And you do that and you're there. So that's how that works. It works really well for those items that are only invoiceable for, or maybe a physical exam. If it's extra, then you're going to need to do that. So those things work well to try to get all these things. For fees, for example, I was building a chart review invoice over here. So let's go back. This was going to be chart review. So I've got a couple of these things in. The nice thing about these fees over here is that it keeps track. So in this case, I set it up for a full $4,000 for chart review. It's $40 per chart. So you add this to the invoice. It's in this case, now I have it set, it's going to take that whole thing. But if it's like, it was just one chart and you set that up, now it's going to calculate the balance down, another $40 for you. So it does keep track, and you can put notes in here. You can say which patient initials or whatever you want to put in there, and build this invoice. And then when you're ready, you can save it and submit it. So, so that's your invoices. This is your reconciliation. If you need to recoup, you can actually now, I'll either do it for an overpayment or use that overpayment function to make an overpayment and then come back later and make credit. So you can offset that, and that function works pretty well compared to other systems. I've been able to use that pretty effectively. I want to get to reports for the last, I think I have 5 minutes left. So for reports over here, if you're using Looker, it's going to look a little bit different, but you effectively have the same reports. What I find to be very useful is this open accruals report in finance. So this first section tells you what has not been invoiced yet. These are fees that you have, one-time fees that you have pending, and oh, look, they didn't invoice the pharmacy setup fee. Well, that should have been invoiced because the startup's down here. It's been submitted. Why didn't they invoice the pharmacy setup fee? So you can see it. It's not just hiding somewhere. It's here in this list, and you can look at your one-time fees and say, yeah, everything got invoiced or didn't, and go through and look at that. Or you could come down and say, here's your startup invoice. It was submitted a month ago. Here, a month ago, it was sent in early June, and it's out of date. So somebody needs to follow up on that and find out why it hasn't been paid. So this report is very effective too. And I usually actually there's unpaid visits down here on the next one. I think they've updated the system for you. So you would be looking at uninvoiced items, unpaid invoices, and unpaid visits. And that's very important to be going through that. You can export all of these to Excel. And that's useful as well. So in your historical payments, you can come over here and look at what's been paid. I only have one payment in at this point, but you can come in and see what's been paid. You can sort in various ways, especially with Looker. You can sort and get the information by month, however you're looking at it. And then you can also go through, I like this revenue details report, because it will show you all of your details. So here's everything that's been done. It'll show you what invoice it's on, if it's on an invoice. In this case, it's not. It'll show you if it's been paid, and it will determine, any number of things are here, the amounts and the service date and so forth. So you can export this. I recommend exporting CSV so you have the values, but you can export this to Excel and resort and track it that way. So you're tracking your monthlies through your reports. So I like these reports. These are really good reports, and you can track those. Also, people use. There's two other functions in here that are great. There's the financials, go into the study. This cost function. We have clients. We don't actually do the cost function for you, but we have clients who use the cost function to great effect. So if you want to be able to pay your providers, your physicians, and link them to any particular procedure, you can actually set that up and select the vendor and have it set up so that you know what you owe them, and you can track it and you can pay them. Here's your invoices. So you set up, this is what's going to show up on the invoice. Then you can also set up this memo to show up on the invoice. And here are your fees. It shows you if it's been invoiced, you can't delete it. So that's one way you know if it's been invoiced or not. And this gives you per occurrence or up to or one-time fees that you can add to your invoices. And you can actually do forecasts. I think that CRIO has probably the best forecast system because you can determine how much you want to put into the visit amount, and how much of that you want to accept going forward. Maybe you want a lower rate. There's different ways to do it. And then you can put in your months and your estimates for what you think you're actually going to be enrolling going forward. If you work with this, you can actually get pretty good at it. And because you can adjust so many different things, and it allows you, the important thing here is that it actually allows you to forecast your screenings. because most systems just run out your current enrollment based upon the windows, but they don't put in your screening. And if you're not screening, everything kind of falls apart. So you need to be able to forecast out. It's monthly. Some people told me they'd rather have weekly, but even so, you've got the ability to forecast out to a certain extent, and then it'll forecast all of this over here in reports. Go back to finance, and you can forecast out. You can see how you forecast it out. So it takes a little. That's a little tricky. It takes a little bit of work. The hardest part, of course, is knowing what your screen fail ratio is going to be and how many patients you're going to screen each month. But if you can get that down, you can pretty well forecast out your revenue. So I think I have 1 minute left. How are we doing? Anybody have any questions? Is there anything else that you want to see on this?
Let's see here. Feel free to put them in the chat. There was one that was, is clinical research billing integrated with the CRIO platform as a complete package, or is that a separate feature that has to be activated separately? I know that usually, Christy, in terms of being in the platform, do you just become a user in their CRIO environment?
Yes, so we would become a user and we would have access to the system as a user. We'll have confidentiality agreements, HIPAA, BAA, Business Associates Agreement to cover the confidentiality on seeing patient names, obviously, and their health information. We'll have agreements to cover that. And then also a services agreement to cover our fees, because we do get paid for this. And then we would access your system and operate as an extension of your site. So we would effectively be representing you and we don't get paid. You get paid. We don't take the money. So we always make sure it goes to you. I don't want the money coming to us. I have to deal with that. So the money goes to you like always, and then we'll bill you for what came in the prior month. So
If you have
anything
any
else?
more questions
I'm
for
sorry.
Christy, feel free to chat them now or feel free to contact her. You can jump into the partner directory and contact their team directly through there as usual. And Christy has worked with many CRIO sites, so I'm sure they can likely attest to her services. Thanks so
Yep.
much, Christy, for hopping on.
Sure. That
And
was fun.
I am going to just close out our last day of the CRIO Partner Expo here and remind you guys how you can get in contact with these partners that you've seen and how to get in touch with them. Andrew, can you see my what's next? Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. So thank you everyone for joining not only today, throughout the entire CRIO Partner Expo. Over the past 4 days, we've spotlighted a wide range of CRIO certified partners offering different solutions designed to streamline your site workflows, reduce site burden, and unlock different levels of operational efficiency. So whether you attended one, a few sessions, we hope you're walking away with some practical insights, fresh new ideas for how integrated tools can transform your clinical research operations. So what's next? You can head to the CRIO Partner Directory if you're a CRIO user. If you're not a CRIO user, feel free to jump on our website and you will find a list of our partners there, and you can read about what each of our partners do. But if you're a CRIO user and you'd like to submit an inquiry again or review or read reviews on these partners from other CRIO sites, or integrate with these partners, just jump into the directory, into the Help Center, and you can do so there. You can also request a personalized recommendation on what partners or solutions would be best for the hurdles or pain points that your site is experiencing based on your site size and type. Feel free to reach out to crio.partners@clinicalresearch.io or your CRIO support team. And then you can catch up or share session recordings. I know Andrew has uploaded them to YouTube, and you will also get a follow-up email later today with links to those recordings, so stay tuned for that. If you're not a decision maker, but you've liked what you've seen here at the CRIO Partner Expo and you want to share them with a decision maker at your site, feel free to do so. Again, you'll get those links later today, and they will always be up on our YouTube channel. And then if you have any questions about Partners Program, want to recommend a partner, want to know if a vendor that you are working with has certain capabilities or is even in the Partners Program to make sure you're not missing out on an integrated solution, feel free to email me at crio.partners@clinicalresearch.io. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found this fruitful and helpful, and we will see you again soon. Thanks, everyone.